So we are going to do the following ones. We're going to do weight. We're going to do length. We're going to do amplitude. And we're going to talk about gravity. Now, the reason we're not going to test gravity is because we would have to go to, like, the moon to figure out if gravity has an effect, which would be sweet and be a very fun field trip, but it's not practical. So we are just going to be able to talk about gravity. Now, these other ones are good ones, too. So, like, air resistance will definitely have an effect, but changing air resistance would be difficult. Time is going to be a factor here, but we're going to be measuring time as opposed to changing time. Tension is going to be difficult to measure. Starting velocity, difficult to measure. The material we could do, I just don't have a bunch of materials. So that one's just a practical one. So these are the three things we're going to be testing. So list the independent variables and the dependent variables. So what are we going to change? What are we going to measure? We're going to change weight, length, and amplitude. And we're going to measure time/period. So we're going to measure time and calculate period. So that's why I put them both on there. Okay, so once you've come up with what you want to test, you now need to explain what you're doing, what the goal of the lab is. So write 1 or 2 sentences explaining what you are trying to figure out in this lab. Make sure your purpose includes all the independent and the dependent variables. So here's how you do a purpose statement. I'm going to write in purple the things you do every time, and I'm going to write in yellow the things that are specific for this lab. So here's how you do a purpose statement. So you write the purpose of the lab is to determine how so that's what you write every time. Then you explain what it is that you're determining. So you're determining how length, weight, and amplitude affect, and then you write what your dependent variable is, period, of the pendulum. Okay? So this is how you do a purpose statement. Every single time the purpose of the lab is to determine how. Independent variable. Effect, dependent variable. Bam. Easy peasy. Every time. All right. Now you need to do a hypothesis. And the hypothesis works like this. What you're going to do is you're going to do each of your independent variables. You're going to predict the relationship to your dependent variable. And the way you say that is it's either directly proportional, inversely proportional, or has no effect. And then you're going to give a reason for that. Okay? So, for example, I do it in bullet points, it's just me. But I would do length first. And then I write what I think the effect is. Okay? So, let's see. Hudson, you're the lucky winner. What do you think the effect is going to be that length has? Do you think it's going to be directly proportional, inversely proportional, or have no effect? Directly proportional. I like it. So Hudson thinks it's going to be directly proportional. And why'd you pick that?
I feel like the lengths, I mean, I suppose longer isn't farther than the string, right?
Okay. So longer string swings further. Okay, sounds reasonable to me. You guys are going to do the remaining two. And if you disagree with his one, then do what you would do. You don't have to do the same thing that we did here as the example. But I want you to do the other two now. So the other two are going to be weight and amplitude. So what effect, if any, do you think weight will have on period? What effect, if any, do you think amplitude will have, period? So directly, inversely proportional, or no effect. Just write that here. And then tell me why you're picking that. Heavier objects move slower. Heavier objects move faster. The further you pull it back, the faster it'll go. Or whatever you think it is. I'm just making up stuff. I'm not necessarily saying what's right. That's for you to figure out. So go ahead and do the hypothesis. Get the hypothesis knocked out here.